In this video, I'll talk about how to solve the how many polypeptides can you make, or how many DNA molecules can you make type of problems. In other words, we know that proteins, or DNA, are polymers of monomers. For proteins, it's amino acids that are strung together in a chain, and depending on the properties of those amino acids, this chain is going to fold up into an interesting three-dimensional shape that will serve some function in the cell. Or for DNA, we have a string of nucleotides. And we also know that they have ends. For instance, proteins have an N-terminus and a C-terminus. DNA has a 5' end and a 3' end. So any sequence in this direction of amino acids for proteins or nucleotides for DNA is going to be a unique molecule with unique properties for a protein or encoding unique information for DNA. And in the case of proteins, there are 20 possible common amino acids to choose from. In the case of DNA, there are 4 nucleotides, or A, T, C, G. Some examples up here might be leucine, say for example, or alanine, etc. So let's look at a question for a protein or a polypeptide, a chain of amino acids. So an example question for this might be, how many unique 10 amino acid long polypeptides can you make with the 20 common amino acids found in cells? So let's start simple. For this first amino acid, say we'll start at the N-terminus. For this first amino acid, how many choices do we have? Well, we have 20 amino acids, any of which can go there. So we have 20 possibilities to start. And then for the second amino acid, how many options do we have? Well, we still have 20 because we have 20 amino acids. So a little picture of this could be that you have the 20 possible starts lined up. So all the way to 20 of these. And for each of them, we have 20 possibilities. So 20 times 20. And that's just for 2. Then when we get to the third, we have another 20 possibilities. So for each of these, we could have 20 possibilities branching off. In other words, for each slot, we have 20 possibilities. So by adding a slot, we multiply the number of possibilities by 20. So if I were looking at just these 3, another way to write that in shorthand, 20 times 20 times 20, would be 20 to the third. In this case, where I have 10 amino acids, so I have 10 slots, would be 20 to the 10th. And that's a big number. And a way to break that down, as we talked about in class, so I could say 2 times 10, so this is just the 20, to the 10th. In other words, 2 to the 10th times 10 to the 10th. Wow. So just this part here, the 10 to the 10th, 10 to the 10th is 1 with 10 zeros behind it. and then it would be multiplied by 2 to the 10th, which itself is a really big number. So here's an example problem for you to work. So how many 15 amino acid long polypeptides can you make with the 20 amino acids commonly found in life? If you answered 20 to the 15th, or 20 times 20 times 20 times 20, 15 times, then you're right. And you may have taken it a step further and reminded yourself that that's going to equal 2 to the 15th times a 1 with 15 zeros behind it. Or in other words, a really, really, really big number. Lots and lots of possibilities. So now let's think about using the same type of reasoning to answer a similar question about DNA. So we could say, how many unique DNA strands can you make that are 10 nucleotides long? So take a moment to figure out that problem. Similar to the proteins, we say for our first slot, we have 4 bases. We could put an A, a T, a C, or a G here. So 4 possibilities, and also 4 possibilities for the second slot, 4 possibilities for the third slot, for the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, etc., all the way to 10. Or in other words, 4 to the 10th. Now a quick note. I might ask you to figure out something like 4 to the 3rd, or 4 times 4 times 4. That I might ask you to be able to do on an exam. This I would never ask you to sit down and spend valuable exam time calculating 4 to the 10th. I would just expect you to know that it was 4 to the 10th, and to know that this was why, to be able to answer this basic type of problem of if I have this many in a row and I have 4 possibilities for each slot, I would expect you to be able to get to this.